Now, like most of you, I've had a few verbal jousts in my time, but what you're about to see is beyond words. Quite incredible, really. Over the weekend, Taupo's been the setting for what's called the Great Tourney, where knights in armour from 4 countries battled it out for the title of jousting grand champion. Forget what you've seen in the movies, this is the real thing, jousting as it was 600 years ago. And in amongst it, our very own Brian Seymour.
Couple of excellent breaks there.
In days of old, when knights were bold and women were not yet invented, men got soused or had a joust, and they're still doing it. In the 14th century, back in its heyday, jousting was a test of courage, honour and chivalry. The aim, to shatter one's lance against your opponent's shield. In between matches, the thousands of spectators could marvel at all things medieval.
I have worn these from 7 in the morning till 7 in the evening. My feet were far more comfortable there than they are in my modern shoes.
And this was just early kind of medieval disco wear, isn't it?
These are actually for the lady.
Oh, yeah. The trebuchet was used in medieval times. 1,000 years earlier, the Romans were firing bolts from their ballista.
And they would go right through him, probably through the other side.
Would you mind jumping out there and showing us that, man?
Yes.
Yeah, it's that Roman sense of humour coming through.
The Romans have no sense of humour.
It was no joke for those in full armour as the temperature soared. Crazy Nick was on the verge of collapse, and not for the first time.
I lasted 25 minutes in a mess of battle. 25 minutes in a mess of battle before I collapsed. I was rushed off to hospital, spent 4 hours rehydrating in hospital.
So what do you enjoy about it?
The mindless violence.
Of course, in medieval times, there were no PlayStations or game boxes or Nintendos, so kids had to get outside and have some good, clean fun. Is there an art to the dying? Because I know
there is an art to dying. You've got to make it look at least slightly realistic. Clutch the wound and spasm and yeah,
like you're in pain. You're
like you're in pain. Hit at the ground and ride the bit, thrash. And yes, do the whole thing.
And hopefully you're dead later today.
Oh, sure I will be.
Nearby, the wild whip man was keen to help me hurt myself.
Now you beat your arm again.
Okay, I deserved that one. As much as I enjoyed making fun of this medieval mob, they're dead serious about their jousting. What's it like out there, mate, charging towards one of your fellow equine competitors with a guy holding a pole out towards you? Oh, it gets ugly even here. Just the simmering tensions. How do you rate this tourney to other tourneys you've been at around the world?
I would say, considering the people here, it's really one of the best.
American jouster Jeffrey Hedgecock is competing against the 7-strong Kiwi contingent, along with 4 Australians and 2 Canadians.
Most of the lances will slide off. They don't get a purchase on your head, so they don't impart a lot of impact.
We've tended to use solid lances in Canada, and it tends to be a lot more dangerous. Canadian
lady Stephanie has a PhD in medical science and a master's in the history of female jousters.
As we well know, Joan of Arc was burned at the stake for dressing as a man. So it was
It might have had more to do with their fashion sense than the political implications.
Perhaps, but I still think it was inappropriate for a woman to pretend to be a man in the medieval times.
A grand parade heralds the final round of matches. Even after months of training and with full armour, people do get hurt.
I'm not feeling too good about it, really. We, as I say, we're not trying to break each other. We are actually all friends out here enjoying a sport, so I'm just going to go and check if he's all right right now, actually.
Where did it actually get you, mate?
Well, you can see right here where that hole is.
Just you torn a hole in your chainmail?
Just here, yeah. So, obviously my plates weren't sitting down low enough, or it skipped off the top here and came in.
How are you feeling now?
Tender, sore, I need to go to the pub.
Indeed, the need for mead was great. First, though, the presentation to the tourney's jousting grand champion.
Champion for the inaugural Great Lake Tourney, goes to Sir Graham Nixon.
What does this mean for jousting in New Zealand?
I think this has pretty much proven itself as a stable event, and we're here next year. I think it's another thing that's going to draw better jousters, more jousters from around the world.
Nasty little spot to have a hole in your chainmail, you'd have to say, wouldn't you? Crazy Nick was my favourite there. St John's were apparently on standby the whole of the weekend, just as they were 600 years ago. Thankfully, no one was seriously wounded, though. Now, if you'd like more information on jousting, as I'm sure you would, simply go to our website, tvnz.co.nz, the keyword close-up. While you're there, we'd love to hear from you about anything that's on your mind or has inspired you.